Comment, like, subscribe. The bell keeps you notified. It helps the show thrive. A demonym is the name we use to denote someone being native to a particular part of the world. It derives from demos and nym, which mean people and name respectively. This is why we see demo appear in other terms relating to people, like demographic and democracy. And of course, nym pops up at the end of countless words relating to names, like endonym, hypernym, and aptronym. Demonyms can be used for any location, from small villages to huge cities. They are, however, most deeply linked with the names we use to refer to people from specific countries. When it comes to countries, there are familiar ways in which their demonyms are formed in English. You usually take the country's name and then adapt the end of it using a specific suffix, with the three most popular being the an, is, and ish suffixes. For example, people from Colombia are Colombian, people from Senegal are Senegalese, and people from Spain are Spanish. And yeah, this is how we also form a lot of language names if you didn't notice. Some countries, however, don't use these suffixes when creating their demonyms. The I suffix is used at times, especially with stan nations like Pakistani or Kazakhstani, and then France has its unique one of just French. Some country demonyms, however, sound nothing like the country they relate to. The best example is with the Netherlands. People from this country aren't called Netherlanders or Neverish, they're instead called Dutch. And while the official demonym for someone from New Zealand is a New Zealander, the colloquial Kiwi is far more popular. If you are curious as to where these more unique terms come from, we have videos explaining them in detail created in years gone by. While these terms might be completely different to the country's names, they aren't ever debated. People know Dutch relates to the Netherlands despite the difference. But one of the most popularly heard demonyms has to be the one used to refer to people from one of the biggest and most culturally influential nations on our globe, the United States of America. The demonym for people from the United States of America is of course American. This demonym comes from the latter word in the USA's name, which in turn comes from explorer Amerigo Vespucci, who is seen as being the first European to not see the New World as part of Asia, but rather its own landmass. This demonym does make logical sense at first. The country is the United States of America, so why not call the citizens American? Though there is something of an issue with this ever-present demonym. The United States of America is not the only landmass on our planet with the word America in its name. Granted, no other nations use the word America, but the word is used in the name of the continent in which the nation of the USA resides on, North America. Not only this, but the continent to this continent's south also has the word America in its name too. South America. Collectively, these two continents are referred to as the Americas, and some people see them as just one continent instead of two. These two continents include other nations such as Mexico, Argentina, Canada, Honduras, Venezuela, Cuba, Guatemala, and so on. While these countries might not have America in their name, we could still use the demonym America for them as they are on the American continents. This means that their citizens could be called American too, and many have argued that this could be the case. It's a really valid argument. Using a continent's demonym to refer to people from different nations on that continent is no new thing. We collectively call people from countries like Germany, Poland, Romania, and the UK European. So why not use the collective demonym of American for people from countries on the continent of North and South America? Well, the term American has become deeply entrenched with just the nation of the USA. This has really shaped the image of what it means to refer to yourself as American. It's an image people from other American countries like Canada and Paraguay might not actually want. The USA's claim over the demonym of American might not seem all that fair to some, however, and people from the USA started to refer to themselves as American kind of gradually over time. By the late 18th century, it was in more widespread use, and the 1795 Treaty of Peace and Amity with the Barbary State uses the term American citizens to refer to those from the USA. Though while it might seem unfair, it is very understandable how American ended up becoming the go-to demonym for those from the USA. Demonyms are usually created to clearly signpost what they are referring to. Out of the four words that make up the name United States of America, the word America is definitely the most distinctive. The other three words of United States of aren't unique to this country and wouldn't have made anywhere near as distinct demonyms for the USA to use. But as mentioned, this demonym really isn't too fair because it can apply to every everyone from the continents of North and South America. A great analogy would be if the demonym for people from South Africa was just African. This wouldn't be too fair, as everyone from the continent of Africa has the right to be called African. The correct demonym for South Africa is South African, by the way. And if you're wondering, people from the Central African Republic are called Central African. So here I am banging on saying we shouldn't be using the term American for people from the USA, but I'm not really giving you any alternatives, am I? So if we shouldn't be calling people from the USA American, what should we be calling them instead? Well, there have been all kinds of alternative suggestions in place of American. One of the more simple alternatives is US American, sometimes not hyphenated. Another one was popularized by architect Frank Lloyd Wright, that being the term USONIAN. This isn't only used to refer to people from the USA, but is found used to refer to a specific style that is distinctly American. Writer H.L. Mencken was a scholar of how the English language evolved in the United States, and over his career he compiled a selection of alternative demonyms for the USA he found in use. This includes Columbian, Columbard, Fredonian, 3D, Unisian, United Statesian, Colonican, Appalachian, Usian, Washingtonian, USian, USian, Usican, and United Stater. He also discovered some other terms which apply to a wider area of land in the USA, including Western Hemispherian, New Worlder, and North Atlantican. While these terms are pretty interesting, none of them have found widespread use or even attempted to usurp American. A term that has made something of a dent, however, is Yankee. However, this term has its own history, and many don't see it as referring to all Americans. Once again, it's a name we have delved into before. What's pretty interesting is how other languages aside from English deal with this demonym. Lots of other languages simply use their version of the word American, like the French American, the Italian Americano, the Japanese Americajin, and even the Hindi Amriki. This isn't the case across all languages, however. Most noticeably, the Spanish language has demonyms that aren't just American in their tongue. This includes estadounidense, which roughly translates into United Statesian. There's also Norteamericano and Norteamericana, which are male and female forms of the terms North American. Brazilian Portuguese also has a Norteamericano and Estadunidense, which come from North American and United States respectively too. It makes a lot of sense why these languages would have more unique words for people from the USA. These are the two most spoken languages in South and Central America and could be affected by the aforementioned demonym confusion. So these Americans might want a more unique term for people from the United States. Though I've also read that these terms aren't actually used that much on a day-to-day basis. Let me know if you come from a Spanish-speaking part of the world or Brazil if you use them or not. The USA, however, isn't the only nation to suffer from a demonym issue though. This is primarily because the USA isn't the only nation on our planet to include the word United in its name. This seems to be where issues arise. Here in the United Kingdom, the official demonym is British. Like the demonym of American for the USA, this creates issues too. Though, funnily enough, it's kind of the opposite issue. Where American can refer to people beyond the borders of the USA, the demonym of British doesn't particularly include everyone within the borders of the UK. British as a word comes from Britain/Great Britain. This is the name for the geographic island which homes England, Wales and Scotland. Northern Ireland, however, which is part of the UK, isn't on the island of Great Britain. So referring to UK citizens in Northern Ireland as British isn't quite correct and opens up a whole other can of worms. Though I guess an argument could be made that the demonym of British doesn't refer to the island of Great Britain, but rather the British Isles as a whole. This is a term used to refer to the island of Great Britain and its surrounding islands. However, this term isn't really accepted by all, and British Isles includes places that are not part of the UK, like the rest of Ireland and the Isle of Man, which takes us back to the issue American has, in which the term applies to more than just that one nation. Plus, I get the idea that a lot of people from Ireland and the Isle of Man wouldn't really want to be called British. And speaking of the Isle of Man, which yes isn't part of the UK but a crown dependency, it has a really unique demonym of Manx. It's not Manish or Manese or anything like that. A solution to this problem here in the UK is to not use British and instead use demonyms for the specific countries within the UK, such as English, Welsh, Scottish and Northern Irish. This is also a solution that people in the USA could and can use too. Each state within the USA has its own demonym. If people don't want to use American for one reason or another, they could use the demonym for their state, such as Californian, Texan, Mainer, and the really fun term of Hoosier for someone from Indiana, which yes, we'll cover in more detail at some point. While using these demonyms in the USA and UK make things a tad less complicated, they don't resolve the issue that both nations suffer of having a demonym that covers the entire nation. That doesn't cause a headache. There is, however, a third nation with United in its name, that being the United Arab Emirates. An emirate, for the record, is a kind of territory like a state or a kingdom. The UAE is made up of 7 of them. The demonym for someone from the United Arab Emirates is Emirati. I find this so fascinating because, unlike the USA or UK, their demonym derives from the kind of territory that makes up the nation. This would be like if the USA's demonym was Statian, or the UK's Kingdom. While those might sound a tad silly now, the word of Emirati shows us that these kinds of demonyms can exist. While the title of this video might be a tad provocative, sometimes you have to push the boat out to engage with people, there could be some validity to it. Perhaps one day in the future, Americans won't be called American. Name Explained depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, and the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explained videos. $2 a month gets you all that, plus your name here with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT, and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.